Hey guys, how are we going today? Hope you're all having a lovely day. I'm back for another Temptations video. So this is actually my first Temptations video since the end of my No Buy challenge, and I have noticed quite a few things making their way onto my list. So I've written them all down in my book here. I have also made quite a few purchases within the last month, within the last few weeks. Some of them were from my Temptations list, some of the, like in the past, not this list. Some of them were just other things that I had found that I was, running out of, and, bits and pieces that have come up along the month. But I've got a few videos of those already filmed, and I'm going to be popping up some haul videos very shortly. But let's get into my list. So the first one is actually a palette from Revolution, and it's the Spirituality palette. Now, I'm very iffy about Revolution shadows. I do have a couple of their palettes, but they are the Reloaded palettes. I do love the colours in this palette. They're actually, two of them are fairly similar to the shirt that I'm wearing today, and this has become a new, kind of favourite colour of mine. But I think the other colours in it, they're my kind of colours. I also love the design on the outside of the palette. I think it's just beautiful. The thing that's holding me back is I know the quality of Revolution shadows, and some of them are very hit and miss. And I do also have a few palettes where I have a couple of similar colours in them. So I think I'm just very drawn to colours like this and colour layouts like this. I think I would need to see it in store first before I make a decision there, but it's definitely on there. The next one is the Ulta Harry Potter collab. Now, I am a big Harry Potter fan, and it's, I've always grown up with the books, I've grown up with the movies, I just love it. And the palettes, when I was first looking at them, I thought, oh, I'm not really that into them. I don't know if I really like them. But when I sat down and looked at each of the palettes individually and each of the shades individually, I really do like them. It does, actually, a couple of them remind me of some palettes from Colourpop. I think the blue, the Ravenclaw palette reminds me a lot of the Elsa palette from Colourpop. So I'm going to try and put a picture of that one up here for comparison. But I still like them. I still like them a lot. I think it's really difficult because it's an Ulta collab. We can't get Ulta where I am, which is really disappointing, but it is what it is. The next item is from Spectrum Collections. Spectrum Collections would be nice if I can say that properly. And it's the Frida Kahlo collection. Now, I love Frida Kahlo. I studied Frida Kahlo when I was in high school. When they brought a few of her works to the New South Wales Art Gallery, I went and saw them there. There's just something about Frida that has just always inspired me. Even my best friend got me a Frida Kahlo drink bottle for Christmas. I wasn't too fussed on the brushes, but the makeup bag I absolutely love. And it's just gorgeous. I have found similar zippered cases on Redbubble, but I just can't bring myself to buy them from there, because the one from Spectrum Collections, it just looks so beautiful, and it looks textured, and that's what's kind of drawing me in, is just the beautiful textured look of it. I'm not sure whether I will eventually get this one or not. I know I do have quite a lot of makeup bags and I don't necessarily use them, but it's still beautiful. The next one I've added on here because I like all of the colours, and at first I thought it was just the palette, and then as I'm flicking through all of the different pictures, I'm realising that I do like all of the items. And it's the Revlon WW84 collection, so it's the, you know, Wonder Woman 84 collection. And there's just something about all of these bright colours that all of them together I love. They're gorgeous. And seeing the, you know, breakdown of the swatches and like just all of the shades just crushed together reminds me of something else that I had on my list. What was it? It was from quite a while ago. It's really going to annoy me now until... Oh, it's the Laura Mercier Caviar Sticks. So I'm going to go back and try and find the picture that I'm thinking of. But I just love the look of all of these colours together. I don't think that they're, you know, exactly the same from memory. I'm probably going to put a picture up here on the screen now, and they're going to be nothing the same or nothing even similar. But I just love all of these colours together, and they look like they work really well. I'd love to see what the lipsticks are like. I don't really think that, like when I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh yeah, the colours are nice, but I'm not sure if, you know, it's my kind of thing. I don't know if I'd wear them. Yeah, I really like that palette. So next item is from Colourpop, and it's the Wild Nothing collection. I'm not particularly fussed on the palette for this one, but it was more the other items. So the cream shadow pots, even though I know that cream shadow doesn't work on me because I have very oily eyelids, it just does not work. But the, you know, the Luxe lip glosses, I don't know, are they lip glosses, lipsticks? I'm not quite sure at this stage. I can't quite remember. And the big cheek pans, I do like the look of those as well. But I don't think that it's anything that I would seriously consider buying, because I know that I have a lot of fairly similar things as well. You know, I have big cheek palettes, I have lip glosses or lipsticks that I could wear, but the colours, it just looks really nice. The next one was a big temptation for me, and it was Sephora had a 40% off lippies sale. And I do have quite a few Sephora lipsticks on my wish list, like in the Sephora app at the moment. So as soon as I saw that sale was on there, even though I know how many lipsticks I have at the moment, I immediately thought, right, I'm going to jump on and see if I can get the Sephora lipsticks that I have on there. I'm just trying to have a look there. The actual Sephora Stories ones. So I've got 3 of them here at the moment, and I love the formula on those. There are another 4 colours that I want at the moment from the same, you know, line, but when I went on to have a look, yes, it says up to 40% off sale, and I worked out the prices for the percentages off the ones that I was looking at, and it was only 15%. So I was literally going to save like $2 on a $15 lipstick. So if it was actually 40%, I would have seriously considered buying all 4 of the shades that I'm after, even though I know I already have ones that are very similar. And the reason I have so many similar shades is because I like to buy nudes from different brands, and I'll see a brand that I'm like, oh yes, I like that one and that one and that one, and buy them and not realize I have one similar at home. So my intention is to eventually just have a few brands of lipstick and then my selected shades within those brands. At the moment I have quite a few different brands. I'm trying to work my way through a lot of them to narrow it down to maybe 4 or 5 different brands as opposed to about like 15. And that way I can kind of condense my collection and not have so many double ups in shades. And the 4 that I have chosen or that I like from the Sephora stories, Sephora collection, whatever it is, I can definitely see all the differences between those. So I would like to get, you know, a few more of those just to flesh out all of the Sephora lipsticks that I have. And I do quite like their formula as well, so that's always a bonus for me. But it was really disappointing to see that, you know, they only had the 40% off on certain shades within certain brands, and, you know, other brands, and the more popular ones and the more nudie kind of colours were all a lower discount, which was a bit disappointing, but I'm sure I'll get them all eventually. It might just take some time, but I'm fine with that. And the last item that I do have on here kind of snuck up on me. And when I heard that this was being released, I'm like, oh yeah, there's no way I'm going to like that. There's no way I'll ever be able to afford that anyway. And it's the Wayne Goss palette. And when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, that is beautiful. I do love that. I really like the look of that. I'm not too fussed on the other items, but I thought the palette I did like the look of. Like, it's got, you know, the different shade variations there. It's very nude, neutrally look. It's the kind of palette I can see myself using all the time and wearing all the time. As we know, I'm a big, you know, neutrals fan. I can make some great looks with this one. I absolutely love that palette. And then I actually saw a bit more information about it and didn't realize that the pans were going to be quite as big as what they were, but I thought that's still great. I still love all of the colors in there. I love all the neutrals. The only thing I'm disappointed in is there's a black. I have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 palettes out of like my 9 or 10 or whatever I have, and they all have a black in them. Like, I don't need more black eyeshadow. I don't use it. But all of the colors are really interesting. I did find that some of them are fairly similar to what I already have in my, you know, Reloaded Velvet Rose palette. But it does seem to be a bit more neutrally shaded, whereas this palette is a lot warmer. So I know that this one is, you know, pretty similar, and the black, you know, obviously it's black. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed in this palette when I got it, because in the photos it looks fairly neutrally shaded, whereas in, you know, reality it's very warm toned. And my main concern is that, you know, if I were to go and one day buy the Wayne Goss palette, that I would get it and it would all be warmed tones, which warm tones don't generally suit my skin very well. I do prefer cooler toned looks. And that's it. That is my entire list for this month. I am a little bit shocked by how many items were on here. I'm not sure if maybe it's just, you know, more things are being produced that I do like, or whether it's the end of my no buy is just, you know, I've been on a little bit of a spending spree, and now I'm just like, oh yes, I want that, I want that, I want that. I'm not quite sure. I think that it will take another couple of months of me continuing to monitor my temptations to, you know, be able to recognize and see whether it is the products that are being produced or whether it's just my spending habits that are influencing everything. So if you have any comments, any questions at all, please feel free to comment down below. But until then, I'll talk to you next time.